Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Curriculum Night for the 2020-2021 school year. I'm Miss Macino, and I am your fourth grade teacher this year. So let's get started. So a little bit about me. This is my second year at Valley View, and I love it here. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in elementary education and my minor, as well as my endorsements in ESL, or English as a Second Language, from Northeastern Illinois University, and that's in Chicago. I love spending time with friends and family and exploring new things. And I want my students to also explore and love trying new things because it's so important. Some goals that I have this year for my students and for myself is to help each student reach his or her potential, doing the best that they can each day, improving student performance in all subjects, reading, writing, math is super important. I want to help my students become or improve as effective listeners, communicators, and teammates, especially this year with remote learning. Being effective listeners and communicators are so important. Communicating when needing help, communicating with me if there's any issues is just so important. And I also want each student to want to come to school. Again, I know it's a lot different now with remote learning, but wanting to come and learn is something that as a teacher I really strive for. Here is a reminder of our daily schedule for remote learning. We start at 9 a.m. and we end at 2:30. From 2:30 to 3 o'clock, that is my office hours. So I'm available for email. If somebody needs extra help on a lesson, I am available to do some extra one-on-one help. So these are our times for everything and our daily schedule. Okay, we're going to start with remote learning expectations, and they do look a little bit different than what my expectations would be in the classroom, but a lot of them are the same. So being on time is really important and following the schedule. Following that schedule is super important because it makes sure that your child is there on time and ready for the lesson. Unfortunately, when you're late, you may miss certain parts of the lesson that I'm unable to say again. And so it's super important to be on time and following that schedule. It's so important to sit in a quiet place while remote learning. That means no TVs or video games are on. You're in a quiet space so that you're able to learn and able to listen. Having the video on. I will give students certain times of the day where they're allowed to turn their videos off. But it is super important to have that video on while I'm teaching a lesson so I know that the students are engaged and participating and listening to the lessons. Muting your microphones. Microphones should be muted again unless I'm giving instruction to unmute it. When everyone has a microphone on, it's hard to listen. It's hard to understand what they're saying. So it's super important to always mute that microphone. Listen and participate. Again, listening is super important, especially because we're on a computer, and to participate. I'm not here with them, so it is hard to know if they are doing what is needed. And so when I'm asking for participation, that's so important to participate so I know they're engaged and doing what is needed of them. And I also look at participation as understanding of the material that I'm doing. If you're participating and practicing, then I know you're understanding the material a little bit better. Raising your hand and waiting your turn. It's so important to raise your hand, and then I will let you, I will let them know that they can unmute and answer. And using the Chromebook from school is really important. I know some friends have asked to not use the Chromebook because of issues with it. But it is super important if you can to use that Chromebook from school. Some more expectations, again, being on time. It's just so important. If you're late, you miss parts of the lessons. Attending all video lessons. Some we have to remember that we have to come back after lunch to be on time for those videos and for those lessons. Turning in your best work is super important, not just doing half of it and turning it in, making sure that it is your best work. Not using the chat unless instructed to do so. It can be distracting, and asking for help and communicating. Communicating is so important with remote learning. Letting me know if there's any issues, letting me know if you have questions will just help with the whole school day if you communicate and ask for questions when you need it. Okay, I'm going to briefly go over the fourth grade curriculum. So for reading and language arts, we're doing a lot of comprehension strategies, some vocab, grammars, major writing assignments like our narrative, our persuasive, and our expository. We're going to do literacy stations. That is whole group and small group. So the students will have independent work. They might do small guided reading with me. And there's going to be different other literacy stations. It might be listening, it might be reading, it might be writing during that time. For math, we, of course, started with our place value. We're going to work a lot with multiplication facts. Multiplication facts are super important. Long division, geometry, fractions, decimals, percentages, problem solving. Super important. We're going to do addition and subtraction strategies. For social studies, we have geography skills, the regions and our branches of government. Science, we have water, weather, Earth's history, Earth's surface and interior, animals, and energy. Okay, and on to grades. Grades are now a progress report, formerly known as a report card. So those will be posted 3 times at the end of each trimester, and it's going to look a little bit different than previous years in 4th grade. We will now be using standard-based rather than giving an overall letter grade for each subject. So it is going to look a little bit different, but it will provide parents a more specific idea of your child's progress and their skills throughout the year. And the district did send out some more information about that. So I would take a look at what the district sent about grades and progress reports to really get a better understanding. If you seem to not be able to find that email from them, you can let me know and I can forward that to you. Homework. The only homework that I will be giving is to make sure you're reading every night and any unfinished work from class. So if there are times where you don't finish something, then that is something that you would be doing at home and finishing that and turning that in. Always practice those multiplication facts, and IXL is really good if you're looking for extra practice. IXL is a website that the students use throughout the day, and it's a really good website just for extra practice. It's not necessarily something they have to do. If they would like to, they can. And all of my work will be found on Otis. That's where they can find all their assignments, unfinished work that maybe they didn't finish in class. So all of their work will be found on Otis. Late work. Students should still turn in late work. It's better late than never. So if it is late, still turn it in. It will have an effect on certain parts of the progress report, but it still is better late than never. Some websites for home that you might be using: Otis for sure if you're working on assignments. Epic and Raz Kids are reading websites for them to read books. IXL is math and ELA, and then Wonderopolis is a website with articles and it's a reading website. So those are some websites that you might be using at home. If you have Chromebook issues, please reach out to the help desk. The help desk is there to help with any Chromebook issues that you may have during the day. Unfortunately, I am unable to see the Chromebook, so it's hard for me to understand what the problem may be. So if there are any big issues, the help desk is who you should talk to. They prefer to be reached out to by email. So there is their email, and I did put a phone number there if it's a dire emergency and you need to get a hold of them. But the help desk email is definitely the place they would prefer to be reached at. Here is my contact info, my email, and my school phone. Unfortunately, the school phone during the day will go straight to voicemail. So if you do need something during the daytime, calling the office would be the best option. And they'll be able to transfer you to me and get the information out. I also have a school Twitter where I might post some pictures or other things like that. So if you'd like to follow me on there, please do. And thank you all so much for all your help at home with your child. I know this is difficult, but thank you so much. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please contact me. Have a nice night.